We begin tonight with the winter weather. Both snow and cold areas in North Georgia have seen some snow this afternoon. There has just been a dusting in the Dalton area.
In the metro, not much yet as we look live now to Midtown, but tonight we're looking ahead to dangerously cold temperatures. Those plummeting temperatures are enough to put local schools on alert.
Here we go again. Most canceled after school and evening activities have been wiped from the slate this evening, and we are now waiting until later tonight to try to get more of an understanding about what will transpire tomorrow. We have our team of storm trackers following the very latest forecast and its impact on you.
So let's begin with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. Chris, you just wrapped up a Facebook Live. The question there is the one we've been getting all day long on social media. Just how much might we get?
You know, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit of snow or a lot of snow. This is a type of snow with these temperatures that are falling that will give us some impacts with slick stuff around. So let me break down what we've got going on right now. North of Atlanta, we don't have anything going on in Atlanta right now. Clouds, a little bit of light rain will be on the way very soon. But then you've got some light rain on the north side that changes over to snow once you get into extreme North Georgia and in parts of Northwest Georgia. We're getting numerous reports from our 11Alive community storm trackers over North and Northwest Georgia of that changing over to some snow flurries that is moving through. We have had some reports of just a light dusting up around the Dalton area, but nothing here in Atlanta yet. This entire system is going to be moving our way as we go through the evening hours. Again, not a lot of accumulations with this. We're talking around an inch or less, but it doesn't matter the amount of accumulation because any type of moisture tonight is going to be freezing and getting slick. This is a live look in Rome, Georgia right now in Northwest Georgia from our tower cam. You can see the winds blowing there. We do have some blowing snow flurries that are moving through, nothing accumulating on the road as of yet, but we could begin to see some of those accumulations starting as we continue through the evening hours. The big story is going to be those temperatures falling tonight as this moisture moves in. Here's a look at some of those accumulations. I do think it'll be higher up in Northwest Georgia, 2 to 3 inches of snow there. This light blue color shows between 1 and 2 inches of snow. As this gets closer to Atlanta, I still think that we'll have less than an inch of snow here, but something to watch over on the west side and also down to the south and west. We could have some pockets even south and west of the city where folks could see more than an inch of snow that can be falling there. We do have that winter weather advisory that has been expanded to cover all of our area through 10 o'clock tomorrow. I want you to expect some of this blowing snow, some accumulations around an inch or less. However, with those even light accumulations, we will see some slick and dangerous travel tonight as these temperatures are plummeting out there. Let's go to meteorologist Samantha Moore right now in the Storm Tracker Thunder Truck. Sam, you guys are up in Dalton. You've been running into some snow flurries, right?
Yeah, we ran into some snow flurries a little earlier. Now that band has moved into Adairsville and Cartersville, and we're in a little bit of a break right now. And you can see we have some salt trucks out here preparing the roads for when those temperatures drop well below freezing tonight. So that's going to be really important here across Northwest Georgia. Not much accumulation here on the vegetation. That's where, of course, the ground where the grasses are a little colder, and that's why the snow can stick there. But as you can see, they are working hard to prepare the roads up here for the inch they're expecting to see here in the Dalton area. And we're going to continue to follow that next band of snow, Chris, that's coming in. It's just north of the Tennessee line right now in Chattanooga. What you're hearing is actually the salt hitting the car. That is not sleet. So just so you know if you can hear what we're hearing. But that next band of snow that's north of the border is going to be coming in. So we'll be watching that from the Thunder Truck. I'm Samantha Moore along with John Samuels, and we're going to cover the snow moving in. Cheryl.
All right, Samantha, thank you so much. Do see that on the side of the road there, and that is why schools are on alert. You are tracking these closings with us on 11alive.com. It's one of our top stories. So many districts in the process of deciding what to do tomorrow in light of that forecast. 11 Alive's Christy Etheridge continues our team coverage now live in Midtown. Hi, Christy.
Hey Cheryl, this isn't the first or even the second weather event this school year where districts are having to decide, do we stay open or do we close? Many schools missed classes back in the fall for Hurricane Irma, and then again just a few weeks ago when we got that heavier than expected snow event. Most districts we talked to today have missed at least 3 days this year, some even more than that. Now the law says you can miss up to 4 without having to make them up. But there is a loophole if you miss more than that. Districts can ask for flexibility from the state, and right now, all but 2 of Georgia's districts are already operating under flexibility contracts. So that means it's up to the district on whether they make up the days or not. But tomorrow, some spots in Georgia could feel as cold as -10 degrees with the wind chill, and it could feel like 0 here in the metro. And in that kind of cold, frostbite can kick in 30 minutes.
So you really have to take care of the kids. Kids typically will go out without a jacket on, without a hat on, or they'll take it off, that kind of thing. But standing out there waiting on a bus stop really could do a lot of damage.
Now everybody knows bridges like this are always the first to ice over, but as schools are making their decision, that may not be the main concern. More than 1 million kids ride the bus. That's over 60% of students in Georgia. And with the wind chills that we're expecting, that could make for a very rough morning at the bus stop. In Atlanta, Christy Etheridge, 11Alive News.
No question about it. My kids are out there before the sun is fully up, so it is a cold time of the day. Christy, thank you so much.
Well, the winter weather now is definitely having an impact at Hartsfield-Jackson. Flights are now being impeded. This is a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson, where the minimal delays right now are being reported. Some airlines, including Delta, are waiving change fees if you are flying to one of the impacted areas, which will stretch all the way from Texas to the Northeast. So it's a very, very large weather service and weather system right now. We can't tell the story of the winter weather without your help. We have been getting pictures sent to us all afternoon long, and this is what many people are seeing. We want to see the winter weather where you live. You can do it very easily by sending it to us using the hashtag Storm11. And you can track how low those temperatures will go by downloading the 11Alive News app. This is a good one. It's free. It's in the Apple Store and Google Play. All you have to do is search 11Alive.
Georgia is in the grips of a flu outbreak, and you are reaching out with a lot of questions about why this season is hitting us so hard. The CDC held an emergency briefing about that earlier today. More than 200,000 of you watched that on Facebook Live on our stream, and the big takeaway, we are now reaching the peak of the flu season. 11Alive's Joe Henke went to the CDC to get more information.
Well, Cheryl, health officials with the CDC today say they are seeing widespread flu activity in every state except Hawaii and are calling this season, quote, especially difficult to deal with. Today's CDC event was originally scheduled to cover nuclear preparedness, but officials suddenly changed the topic to influenza. Indications are this flu season may be more severe than officials originally anticipated. Doctors' offices and hospitals are seeing an increase in flu-related visits. But we learned at the CDC this season began early and is now likely peaking, so numbers could soon start heading downward. So what is making this year different than others so far? The specific strain hitting people is called H3N2. That virus historically leads to more hospitalizations than other strains. It's also very serious for young children and the 65-plus-year-old crowd. Also, right now, flu cases being reported are rather high because the flu, it's everywhere. CDC reports show the entire continental U.S. is seeing widespread activity. Officials, though, say when we get to the end of the flu season, this could end up being no worse than years past.
Because so many states and places are having flu activity all at the same time, that it seems like a bigger flu season than normal. But, you know, in reality, when we look in a couple weeks and we look back, it may be that this is a typical flu season like we have every year.
And there have been reports of pharmacies running low on flu antiviral medication, such as Tamiflu. CDC officials today told me they are aware of shortages, but say the shortages are rather spotty. I'll have their advice for those searching for the antiviral drugs coming up at 6. Jeff?
Wash your hands, get your rest, as our mother always told us. They were left starving, drugged, and without basic health care. The Attorney General says that 14 older Georgia victims were scammed out of Social Security benefits by those they trusted most, their caretakers. Investigators tell 11Alive's Deborah Tuff neighbors knew something was wrong and then turned them in.
An organized web of elderly abuse.
The victims themselves were in various stages of poor health, malnutrition. It was a very horrendous scene.
That stretched from Albany to Suwannee in South Carolina, where victims were starved, stripped of their Social Security and Medicaid benefits, then drugged with psychotropic medications and various prescriptions.
On December 13th, 2017, Michelle Oliver, Harold Hunt, and Cynthia Riley were charged in a 17-count indictment.
Authorities say Oliver operated an unlicensed personal care home in Albany, Miracle One Care Center.
These persons targeted individuals, and just through manipulating the system.
She reportedly rented apartments to the elderly who were so hungry, neighbors told police they begged for food.
The conditions they were living in were such that the facility was actually condemned.
Suwannee resident Harold Hunt is accused of playing a role in the scam, fattening his pockets with their benefits.
Depriving the residents of health care, shelter, and necessary sustenance, and financially exploiting the individuals.
The state attorney general says the victims living in Albany and Macon were transported to nurse practitioner Cynthia Riley in South Carolina, who drugged them.
There are those that are going to want to abuse government programs, and it's our job to make sure that we protect and defend the integrity of the program, but most importantly, the individual.
The Doherty district attorney is still searching for others involved in this scam targeting our most vulnerable. Deborah Tuff, 11Alive News.
Awful. Georgia Senator David Perdue is taking more heat now from critics across the country and in Atlanta as he defends President Trump following that now infamous meeting last week on immigration. Mr. Perdue insists he's just trying to get the focus back on reaching a bipartisan immigration deal. Here's 11Alive's John Shirk.
Georgia Senator David Perdue has protesters, a small group outside of his Atlanta office in Buckhead, and at least one comedian on national television mocking him.
Represent your state, say no to hate.
And it's because of Perdue's seemingly changing account of what he heard or didn't hear President Trump say or not say last week at their private meeting with 5 other senators on immigration. Atlanta protest organizer Caroline Stover, now 1 year into her weekly demonstrations against Perdue, has even more to protest now, she says.
What I have heard him say in the national media is frankly an embarrassment to our state.
I was invited to the White House.
It was on Friday when Perdue commented for the first time on whether President Trump used an obscenity against certain third world immigrants and their home countries. Perdue, quote, "I do not recall the president saying these comments specifically." Then on Sunday on ABC News,
I'm telling you he did not use that word, George, and I'm telling you it's a gross misrepresentation. How many times do you want me to say that?
Then on Monday, Stephen Colbert's nightly anti-Trump jokes included a new target, Perdue.
You can't remember whether it happened, then suddenly you have a vivid memory of it never happening. I guess that's, fairly common, like how at first I couldn't remember if Senator Perdue had a spine, then I had a vivid memory of him never having one.
David Perdue, do you have something to say? Well, yeah, my observation is...
Perdue's defense is to try to take the offense. He's attacking the only Democrat who was in the room at the private meeting with the president, Senator Dick Durbin, saying that Durbin has misquoted people before and is misrepresenting now what the president said. And Perdue's spokespeople tell me he's trying to get the focus back on the main issue, they say, the crucial issue of reaching a bipartisan deal on immigration, on DACA, on the Dreamers, a deal that everyone agrees seemed within reach until last week. Within reach, perhaps, until one disputed alleged obscenity from the president had a distracting impact on the deal and on the president's defenders. In Atlanta, John Shirk, 11Alive News.
Last week, we introduced you to a rescue dog whose puppies did not survive and could only be consoled by stuffed animals. The video has been viewed 500,000 times, thousands of you asking us to share an update. Well, we have good news about Kia's recovery, all new coming up in a few minutes.
Plus, 12 days after topping the 25,000 mark for the very first time, the Dow Jones Industrial reaches another milestone. What this means for your 401k and your investments, all of that is coming up after the break.